Hi, and welcome to Bluebell Storytime. I'm Miss Mandy from the B.B. Comer Library here in Sylacauga. Today I want to talk about another author, and that is James Dean, and he's the author and illustrator of one of our favorite characters, and that's Pete the Cat. All right, I'd like to thank Kimberly and James Dean, the author and illustrator of this book, and the publisher, Harper Collins Publishers, for allowing me to share the book with you. And the first one I want to read is Pete the Cat's Family Road Trip. All right, everybody loves Pete the Cat. Now we get to see his family. Pete, Bob, Mom, and Dad are going on a road trip across the United States. Dad loads the bags onto the roof. Mom picks the music. Bob and Pete grab the bike. The first stop is Niagara Falls. They ride a boat to see the waterfall up close. Pete loves pretending he's the captain. Next stop is Boston. The family walks the Freedom Trail. They take a photo in front of Paul Revere's house. Historic and cool, says Bob. Now they are off to a new city. It is New York City. The family takes an elevator to the top of One World Trade Center. Look, it's the Statue of Liberty, says Dad. In Savannah, they ride a riverboat. Pete orders a slice of peach pie. Yum, says Pete. Life is good. When they arrive at Key West, Pete meets a six-toed cat there at Ernest Hemingway Home and Museum. Your paws are groovy, says Pete. Right back at you, says the cat. New Orleans is famous for jazz music. The groovy jazz music makes everyone dance in the streets. Everyone is excited about the next stop, but then, the car gets a flat tire on Route 66. Don't worry, says Mom. We can't let this ruin our trip. Mom and Dad change the tire. Soon the family is on their way again. Mom parks the car. Look over there, says Bob. It's Mount Rushmore. What a sight to see. The family stops to take a photo. I think they've added a cat to one of the presidents there. At Yellowstone National Park, everyone unwinds. The park is so pretty and peaceful. Bob sees bison snacking on grass. Check out those horns, says Mom. Suddenly, Old Faithful shoots water high into the air. Cool, says Pete. Bob thinks it's time to try something different than a car ride. The family goes on a horse ride instead in Utah's Monument Valley. In Los Angeles, Pete checks out the Cat Hollywood Walk of Fame. Pete puts his paws in the paw prints. I feel like a star, he says. When they get to San Francisco, they all squeeze into a cable car. Pete stands in the front and says, "Toot, toot." The last stop is Seattle. They go to the top of the Space Needle. Wow, says Mom. This city is pretty at night. Finally, it's time to go home. We saw so many cool places, says Bob. What was your favorite part of the road trip? Asked Mom. Pete thinks long and hard. There were so many neat sights. The best part was being together with you all, says Pete. Oh, and he's so true. One fun thing to do would be to take a map and see if you could see all the places where Pete went and kind of track his vacation there. All right, St. Patrick's Day is coming up on March 17th, so I want us to sing a little song about leprechauns. You know, if you find a leprechaun, he has to give you his pot of gold. So let's see if these leprechauns can find their pot of gold. 5 little leprechauns standing in a row. 5 little leprechauns looking for gold. A rainbow appeared and led the way, and one little leprechaun danced away. Now we've got 4. 4 little leprechauns standing in a row. 4 little leprechauns looking for gold. A rainbow appeared and led the way, and 1 little leprechaun danced away. Now we have 3. 3 little leprechauns standing in a row. 3 little leprechauns looking for gold. A rainbow appeared and led the way, and 1 little leprechaun danced away. How many have we got now? Just 2. 2 little leprechauns standing in a row. 2 little leprechauns looking for gold. A rainbow appeared and led the way, and 1 little leprechaun danced away. 1 little leprechaun standing in a row. 1 little leprechaun looking for gold. A rainbow appeared and led the way, and the last little leprechaun danced away. All right, they all found it. Great. All right, the next book I have is also by James Dean, and it is a Pete the Cat book also. It is Pete the Cat, The Great Leprechaun Chase, which is a perfect time to read it since we're celebrating St. Patrick's Day. I'd like to thank the author, James Dean, and the publisher, HarperCollins, for allowing me to share this book with you. Pete the Cat, The Great Leprechaun Chase. Tomorrow is St. Patrick's Day, and Pete's teacher, Mr. G, is teaching about leprechauns. The only time you can catch one is on St. Patrick's Day. A leprechaun will bring you good luck, Mr. G says. Now everyone in class wants a leprechaun. Pete gets a great idea. He will open a leprechaun catching business. St. Patrick's Day comes and Pete gathers some supplies. He hangs a sign above his stand. This will be easy, Pete thinks. He's Pete's Lucky Leprechaun Catchers. Squirrel is Pete's first customer. I want a leprechaun, Squirrel says. I need good luck for my test. Cool, I'm on it, says Pete. Pete has a plan. He will follow a rainbow until he finds a leprechaun. Finally, Pete arrives at the end of the rainbow and finds Clover the leprechaun next to a pot of gold. Pete sneaks up behind Clover and swoosh! But Clover is too fast. Did you think you could catch me so easily? He asked. Once there was a cat named Pete who thought nabbing some luck would be neat. Then he happened upon a smart leprechaun who he'll find quite tricky to beat. Clover disappears in a puff of green smoke. Pete will need a new plan. That afternoon, Gus visits Pete's Lucky Leprechaun Catchers. I want a leprechaun, Gus says. I need good luck for my band recital. Pete says, I'll see what I can do. Pete plans to lure Clover out with his music. He plays a jaunty song on his guitar. Before long, Clover dances over to Pete. Just a little closer, Pete thinks. Suddenly, Clover starts spinning around Pete. Round and round, Clover goes faster and faster. Oh no, Clover wraps up Pete with the rope. Pete has finally met his match, a crafty leprechaun he just can't catch. He'll never win, he better give in or find something else to snatch. That evening, Callie visits Pete's Lucky Leprechaun Catchers. I want a leprechaun, Callie says. I need good luck for my tennis match. Says Pete. St. Patrick's Day is almost over. There isn't much time left to catch a leprechaun. But Pete won't give up yet. Pete sets a trap for Clover. Before long, Clover tiptoes up to the trap and sniffs the air. I love candy, he whispers, peering under the box. Crash! Pete rushes over and checks underneath the trap, but it is empty, and Clover skips away. Pete has tried many a plot, but still I haven't been caught. And isn't it dandy? I even got candy while Pete ends up with squat. Pete has an idea. He follows the trail of spilled candy to Clover's secret hideout. Pete sneaks up behind Clover and swoosh! Pete finally catches Clover. Why do you want me? Clover asks. I'm helping my friends who need some extra luck, Pete says. Luck doesn't come from having a leprechaun, says Clover. You and your friends have each other. That already makes you as lucky as can be. Could Clover be right? Pete is one very lucky cat. A lucky cat doesn't need a lucky leprechaun. He lets Clover go. Pete decides he will be the good luck his friends need by helping them out himself. Pete helps Squirrel study for his test, and Squirrel aces it. Pete helps Gus rehearse for the recital. Gus rocks it. Pete helps Callie practice for her match. Callie wins it. Clover magically appears. Good job, Pete, says Clover. I have one more poem for you. While Clover played hide and seek, Pete learned something unique. The luck that you make beats luck that you take any old day of the week. Happy St. Patrick's Day. All right, and I also wish you a happy St. Patrick's Day, and go out there and be good luck for a friend. Thank you so much for joining me.